Alright, so this means that we now can go ahead and require not just fs but fs promises. Alright, so let me get rid of anything that we don't really want to see right now. And what do we want now? So like I said, we want to write a file. We want to create a settings file, which is gonna be living right next to the remotes database that we have right there. So let's add a file here. And we'll create a JSON file. Okay? And why do we want to do that here? Well, because we want to have the store to be the one responsible for doing all the reads and writes either of the remotes database or of the settings that we want to store for the user. So the next thing we want to do is go here to the state and add another entry, the settings entry. And the settings are going to be an object. So the state now will not only contain the remotes list but also the settings. And there's a more advanced concept for Vuex and the store where you can implement something called modules, where you could separate and have a module which will be in charge of handling all the settings part and a module that will handle all the remotes list. I'm just keeping everything here because I think the app is small enough to keep it here, but feel free to go deep into Vuex and modules to separate your logic there. Alright, so we likely want a getter for those settings. Okay, so that's a getter. We're going to be using this in a computed property next. And let's also implement the actions now. So this is for the remotes. And now we'll create a storeSettings action. So here's where the node module or the native FS promises will shine. What do we call that module? FS? Let's call it FS promises to be a little bit clearer that we're using the newer API. And so we can return now whatever the write file returns, which is going to be a promise, and not have to wrap it ourselves. So what write file takes is the path where we want to write the file and any data that we want to put in there. So let's use our object file paths, then settings file as a path, and then the settings payload from the action as the data parameter we're sending to the write file. Alright, and what we want to do now is we want to hook into the promise, because whenever it is successful, then we want to commit the mutation that will update the state. In case anything went wrong,